Welcome to this special presentation of the Crooked River Radio Network. Tonight's presentation is Beth Roose presents the WhiteHouse Code. Brought to you by the Crooked River Radio Network.
Hello, good evening. It's like I've said to many of you that it's like old home week. I used to go to church here, grew up in Northampton. Of course, I'm Beth Roose, and Jim and Helen was my parents, and on Northampton Road, big farm, couldn't miss it. So I was so excited to be asked to come here and to talk, but I didn't want to come by myself and talk about my books or my WhiteHouse Code without some friends that actually came in person, and others are on a Zoom call. I can't see them and talk on the PowerPoint, so we'll just trust me, they're there. So, of course, it's the WhiteHouse Code we're going to be talking about, and the book really just covers. It's a group of scientists that are trying to save the galaxy, and in saving the galaxy, they need to find codes that are embedded in the White House China. So they need these codes to set off the planetary defense system. This is historical fiction. So, we just say that. So we used things that were in the plates, the actual plates, and made them part of the code needed to activate the defense system. The star Betelgeuse, it really is, in the Orion system, it is going supernova. And as I did the research, I found out it truly is going supernova. It won't be in our lifetime, but it is going supernova. So that was real interesting to find that out. But I am lucky to have a publisher, and it's Red Penguin Books, and she's actually on the call, and I'm going to let Stephanie give a chat and introduce herself. Let me see if I can go between.
That's okay. I'm right here. I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks, Beth. The WhiteHouse Code, yes, I do hope it's historical fiction. That's what I was told by my fabulous author. If it's not historical fiction, we're all in very, very big trouble. But I'm delighted to be here, that we publish not just the WhiteHouse Code, but all of the books in the Forest Guardian Chronicles. And every single month, it seems, there's another book coming out, so we can keep up with what goes on with the Forest Guardian Chronicles. And I guess that's a spoiler that we don't all explode at the end of the WhiteHouse Code, because I know there are more books coming. So that'll just be a slight hint, but I won't give away anything more than that because the publisher keeps her mouth shut. So yes, I head up Red Penguin Books. We're an independent publisher. Please look us up at redpenguinbooks.com. And
I'm sorry, I can't turn it up any higher.
You'll also see trailers for all of Beth's books, and thrilled to be here. So thanks, Beth.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. So what I wanted to say too was that as I write, a lot of the characters that are in my books are Woodridge alumni that I went to school with. So Deb Grissom sitting in the back. Many of you may know, her parents with the Grissom Farm in Peninsula, right? And so she lives in Austin, Texas, Round Rock, Texas. And so she flew in to meet you all and be like, oh, so yeah. And the other person in the room is Ellie Metzer-Cartwald. There you go. And she's also in it, and a Woodridge alumni. Our main character is a character all by himself without being in the book. It is Morgan King, and he is actually on here. I'm hoping that you can hear him, and he's going to give a little chat about himself. I'm sorry, I need to go to the other to PowerPoint, so I'm so sorry.
Those are my hands. That was
Thanks, Morgan.
my first hand modeling gig.
Great hands.
I don't know why it's not. Yikes. I'm having a tech. I don't know why it's not. There we go. There we go. There's Red Penguin Slide, by the way. And there's all my other books. So, all right. Now, there is Mr. Morgan.
Wow.
Morgan in this, he is Dr. Morgan King. He's a physician, and he is the leader of the Galactic Federation and the president of the Galactic Federation. So, Morgan, I'll let you chat.
Who, me?
Yes, you.
It's a tough gig being president of the Galactic Federation, but you know, in preparation for this, I did. Can you see this? I dug out my high school yearbook, and it has the senior superlatives in it. You know what I'm talking about? And mine says most likely to save humanity. What are the odds?
Yeah, that is odd for you. So I will say that. You know, he has Morgan has helpers in this. You know, and Morgan's a character in real life too. He's not a physician in real life, but he was one of the people that we truly all love, a weatherman. So he has all sorts of really fun stories of being a weatherman in Tennessee. Lives in Tennessee.
Yeah,
Unless you moved on.
No, I'm still here. I'm in Northeast Tennessee. For those who are race fans, the Bristol racetrack is about 20 miles from my house. I live in Kingsport, Tennessee. Kingsport, Morgan King. Coincidence? I don't think so.
All right, Morgan.
But weather was fun, and I got into it way back in the beginning when they were going. Remember the magnets that used to be on the board, and they would have the chalk. I didn't do the magnets or the chalk, but it was right at the beginning of the computer age. Well, my station didn't have my own computer. Was able to make some maps, but you know, everybody wants to see the radar when the rain is coming through. Well, my radar came down from ABC in New York at 6 a.m. I didn't go on till 6 p.m. So the only time I could show the national radar was when it wasn't raining. Otherwise, the rain that you would see would be back in Arkansas instead of in the state of Tennessee. So it was interesting going back in the early days of weather technology.
That would be fun, maybe.
Yeah. It was interesting. Song and dance, sleight of hand.
And you're good at that. So awesome. All right. So one of the things that I wanted to say in the book, in an upcoming book called The Forbidden Code of Enoch, Morgan gathers all his captains of the guard together, and he did a prayer over the captains of the guard, which it says, "Good morning, I'm honored today to stand together as one, each captain standing watch over the galaxy. Crowned in crowded solitude, a galaxy is waiting to know what we'll do. Bearing the heavy weight of saving the galaxy can make a shoulder stoop. So, Captain, we pray for you." And you can read the rest, but in the beginning of the next book, he was mocked for giving this prayer. His own people mocked him for giving a prayer and saying it was a waste of time. So, you know, later in the book, he's redeemed. We let him redeem himself for giving that prayer. So, yes, amen. So, next is you can see there's Morgan and Bev, and there's Marcia Garman. Marcia is Dr. Jim Motice. Most of you from Northampton know Dr. Jim Motice. He lived in Northampton. He lived behind us. And so that's his book wife, Marcia Garman. She's also on the call. And Bev is, Bev is Dr. Motice's book wife, and Marcia is Morgan's book wife. I get so confused sometimes. It's hard to keep up with all these things. So
you should have two wives.
yes, of course. You're funny. Any rate, so everybody works together. When I was at an event last Monday, it was like a mini reunion. And in the reunion, I had like 7 people hand me slips of paper with their names and what they wanted to be in my next book. So it's just like, oh, okay. Let me see if I can work this in. So I tried to match the personalities with the book character. And so Morgan, he's compassionate and caring, and everyone loves his loving eyes. And Dr. Motice was more the Band-Aid type approach. He just put it out there, rip it off. So, and some doctors are like that and others are not. So, Bev is the soft-spoken, level-headed. Even in school, she was that way. So she pretty much stays that way as a book, is a book person. Marcia, she was a couple years ahead of me. So, but from what I knew of her and what I knew of her dad, her dad was the principal at Northampton Elementary. So she is outspoken, and Mr. Garman, she is, that's his daughter. So she is a born leader and a very detailed, and she is a wild child. I don't know if she was that way, if she's that way now, but she was in the book. She's a wild child. So
trust me, she is.
All right, Morgan. And then of course Ellie is she won't admit it. Everyone says she was actually so outspoken in a wild child too. And I was like, she's so quiet. What are you talking about? And she goes, no, she's not. So, well, the real Ellie, please stand up. So trying to figure that out. So at any rate, that's that. So let's move to, and their family has lots of kids because of events with the blue aliens. So they have tons of kids, both families. And with families comes drama and your kids playing tricks on you and doing all sorts of funny things. And one of Morgan's children, Tig, who's a genius and brilliant, graduated college at 11 in the book. So, but his name is Tig, and they had a beautiful Afghan hound that, with the silky, beautiful hair. And his name was Omar, and Tig was in charge of brushing it. So he didn't want to brush it, so he cut the hair off. Then he went a step further and went to school, and he glued it with super glue on his hair. So that's what he looks like.
Wow.
Yes.
He's a chip off the old block, ain't he?
Yeah, you're supposed to say, that's my boy.
Yep.
That's a line he says in the book all the time. That's my boy. Okay, so Morgan has a lot of trouble finding people that have good character, that are loyal, that have courage. And, people's always trying to kill him because of his CRISPR technology. He and Dr. Motice do CRISPR technology, and like the US military is always after him, trying to kill him because they want the formula to make hybrid soldiers. So, Morgan refuses to do that. So he decided that he was going to go back in time and pull Bat Masterson first. And so he pulled Bat Masterson to come forward and help him build a Justice League. If you know anything about Bat Masterson, he created the Peace League back in Dodge, in Kansas. So he came back, and then Morgan went back and got almost all of the Justice League and all the lawmen of that day and time. So of course he brought Wyatt Earp forward, and he brought Wild Bill Hickok and Bass Reeves. And I know a lot of people don't know about Bass Reeves. He was probably the most prolific lawman there was in the Old West, and very well known, but he doesn't have the PR push that Bat Masterson had, because Bat Masterson later in life became a news columnist. So he was his own self-promoter, kind of like Wyatt Earp. So and the next slide is he had a TV show. Well, not he, but they had a TV show with Gene Gary. You guys recognize that? Yeah. Okay, anybody know the words to it? Come on, put your thinking caps on.
Karaoke time.
Okay, Morgan. No? Okay. Yeah, Gene Barry. There's the words. Back when the West was very young, there lived a man named Masterson. He wore a cane and derby hat. They called him Bat Masterson. So, okay. Now, we're going to go through
some question, but before you move on from the Old West, just for future books, since you're obsessed with the West, from a guy's point of view, could we bring in a gal, maybe Mae West? She'd like to come up and see me sometime.
Yes, I'm sure. Well, actually, they bring forward Annie Oakley and Betty Zane, and there's those are the two main women they bring back, Betty Zane, and they brought Bat's wife back, Emma. She came too. So, and she was as sure a shot as Bat Masterson. So, a lot of people didn't know that. All right, so. But sorry, no Mae West. She is not the great character that we're looking for. So, okay. So now, thank you, Morgan, I will. Okay, so now, all my books have Bigfoot, all of them. And this Bigfoot, her name is Cron. And she's actually a physician, but she is a protector of Morgan and Jim's family. But she is a physician. I wouldn't want to meet with her to come take care of me. I can tell you that. But she is a good guy. She really is a good guy, unless somebody's trying to take out Morgan or take out Jim. Okay, so now we get on to the nefarious people in this book. Okay, so Olsing, he's of the Nordic race, the Nordic species. And he is the head of security, and in the books to follow, they push themselves off to Morgan and Jim as a part of the Olympic people. So Zeus and Apollo, and that whole. So they're masquerading as Olympians, and they have Morgan and Jim completely convinced that they're Olympians. So we fix that later in the next book. But that's and they're evil. They're so evil. They just do things to Morgan. He's always trying to be bumped off. Spends a lot of time in the medical unit, not for being a doctor.
I heard this guy also was working on my wife Marcia to try and win her over. Marcia.
Yep. Okay. That's right. Next is Thar. He's a physician. He's also of the Nordic species. And he's even worse because he implanted, and Morgan doesn't find this out till the next book, but they've implanted all sorts of chip technology and holographic technology within their bodies. And all sorts of other nefarious things they implanted in him. So it makes for a lot of action and a lot of hurtful times for Morgan and Jim and Marcia and Beth. So, and poor Ellie that you met, she is the vice president. She is the book vice president of public relations. So she's always having to stave off people to keep them, the galaxy from falling apart because of Morgan having serious injuries. So this is Dr. K. Now, Dr. K, she's also of the Nordic race, and she is also evil. She is a pediatrician and takes care of all the kids in the, neonatal. And she does all sorts of bad things too. So definitely, she's probably the most evil of all of them because she's so sneaky and underhanded on how she does things. All right, next is the number one villain, the Blue. So the book, there's a book I have that is before this one called Blue's War. And this alien race is about to become extinct. So they are trying to save their race. So all the females are out stealing DNA and taking it from males. So, and they've been doing this for years. Even
they have to buy me a drink first, Bev.
Yes, okay. All right. Thank you, Morgan. So, so even back to Daniel Boone, he had an encounter with her, and so did not Sam Houston, but
Davy Crockett.
Davy Crockett and Daniel Boone and Colonel Houston and Stephen Austin, all at the Alamo. They have dealings with this blue, one of the blue women. So, and there was implants way back then. So this has been going on for a long time, the alien species, but they are completely evil. They just kept implanting eggs in poor Bev and poor Marcia. And they would get pregnant time and time again. And their gestation period is just a couple months. So it would be, she winds up with, I don't know, I didn't count the kids, but I think there's like 20 some each of them have because of the Blue. So it's been interesting.
And I'm having to support them all.
I know you keep saying in your books, God, I've got to get a real job. So, yeah, that's Morgan. Okay, so in this story, they, like I said, it's they have to save the galaxy, because if when that star explodes, it's going to take out all the planets, the shock wave. So you have to have planetary defense systems. We have a planetary defense system in reality. They keep on Ancient Aliens that whatever his name is with the freaky hair, he tells everyone that in Russia, in the Valley of Death, there are cauldrons, and when the planetary defense system is activated, they come up and shoot lasers. They think that's what happened in Giorgio says that's what happened in in Russia when they lost all those trees. There was an explosion. Everyone's explaining it 50 different ways to none. So yeah, so we don't know for sure, but we've got to get our planetary defense system up. And since no one's ever actually activated it, no one has the codes on how to activate it. So Merlin traveled from King Arthur's days and told them where they could find the codes. And the presidents embedded them into the White House China. So if you knew where to look, you could go through the China and find the codes and know the right order. So in fact, that's what they did. And they looked at George and Martha Washington's plates. Of course, he was the first president, and he died in Mount Vernon in 1799. But he did take his oath of office in New York, not in DC. So in his, let me go to this. Sorry. Okay, so on his plate, and we have one of the plates over there, you'll see a stylized starburst. And so the starburst is gold, so that's an element. And so because it's the number 1 element, that's a 1. It counts as a 1. So we know that's one of the codes, 1. And any plate with gold, the gold element is a 1. So then it also has silver. It has 15 points on the starburst. So that's part of the code. And, you know, and around the edge of the plate, you will see the 13 colonies. So obviously that's a trigger for the code. And it has to be cyclical because there's a snake that goes all around the edge of the plate. And a snake swallowing its tail means cyclical. So, you know, that's how they figured out the code. Also, he wore cufflinks that had the fleur-de-lis on it. The fleur-de-lis takes us back to what else but the Illuminati. So that is a code, and he doesn't know how to figure that out till like right at the end for the fleur-de-lis. And you can see there's all sorts of different things that in how they're arranged, knowing how the order it goes in. So that's Washington's plate. There's a picture of it. I only have the dessert plates. I don't have the big, you know, plate, dinner plate. Who was already scary enough taking the little dessert plates. So
Can I say something here?
Certainly.
For those who aren't in the room with you, for those who are just listening, they might not know that you were able to score this actual china from the Smithsonian, and you've got some of the pieces there with you tonight. And I was lucky enough to come up earlier this year. We did a photo session with these pieces that was just frightening, knowing what I was holding, and these plates and holding Abraham Lincoln's teacup, just knowing that had been up to his hairy little lips was just awe-taking for me to be able to actually handle these things. And what a great coup you got by actually having connections and get this stuff, not just writing a story about it, but actually having the pieces.
It's definitely been a blessing and yet a curse because I'm responsible for all this stuff. So even me coming here with people I knew that I would know, most everyone in the room, or they knew my parents, it was still so frightening. I thought about not doing it because having that sitting out is just like, God, don't touch it. Don't touch it. No one touch that. But Morgan can attest to the museum gloves that, you know, that they give you to hold the piece with. I won't hold the piece. I've left them in the, you can't see this, Morgan or Stephanie, I've left them in the WhiteHouse boxes because I refuse to pick them up. It's just too scary for me. And so Morgan didn't have any problem with that in this slide that I'm showing right now. But I did make him sit over a table. He wasn't walking around with them. No way. So that was just, it was just frightening for me, and it still is. So
Yeah.
What can I say? Morgan's braver than I am. That's for sure. All right, let's move along. Oh, well, there's Morgan examining Thomas Jefferson's plate, and his is one of the most simple plates of all of the presidents. McKinley's was super simple too. It's just a mauve colored tiny stripe, and it has 4 bumps around the edge in a whole, it's 4, 4, 4, and 4. So there's 12 bumps. So that counted in that, but I didn't bring those. I'm sorry. That was just enough for me. So, but Jefferson's is really simple. It has the shield, it has the fleur-de-lis, and so that instantly takes us to the Illuminati. That's coming back to the Illuminati. So even without that, it's sure an indication of something. Next is Abraham Lincoln and his wife, Mary. Their plate is over there. I have it for you to look at, not touch, but look at. And I just want to say, don't touch. His was a Napoleonic eagle. That's, and I guess you can't see the plate. Hold on. I don't know why. I can see it. I don't know why you can't. Hold on.
I can see.
There we go.
There it is.
All right. So it's a Napoleonic eagle, but it carries the arrows, and the arrows are pointing up. So that is the elemental emblem for iron. So iron is a clue. Plus, you know, there's 9 arrows. So that's also a clue. And really, that's the only clue on his on Lincoln's plate was the element iron. That's important for later. So next, okay, this is Monroe, and his wife Elizabeth. They were the 5th president. He died on July 4th of 1831. And of course, everyone knows him for the Monroe Doctrine. So for foreign policy. So now his plate, we got the most clues off of his plate. His plate is just breathtaking. And I love his plate. I do not have his plate. I'm sorry. I don't. Some of the plates I had to return. I didn't get to, I mean, they're not waiting forever for me to have a meeting. So the big high value plates went back. So let me show you his plate first, and then we'll come back to what's on it. Okay, that's his plate. Now he has a stylized starburst too. One of the things I'm going to point out, I'm going to stand for this, is they say that those black shadows there, if you look close, they say that's a Bigfoot. That he had seen a Bigfoot in real life. He had seen a Bigfoot like Teddy Roosevelt. And so it's embedded into the plate, but it's pointing to the west. And so the Morgan's group knew immediately they needed to make sure that Sirius and, you know, the planets to the west all had their planetary defense systems up as well. Not just the ones like in Orion and Earth and Mars, but the further out to the west, that's what the Bigfoot was pointing towards. So I've had to look really close, and I mean really close, but I guess you could say that's maybe a Bigfoot. But the other stuff he had, I know, is that you, Morgan, wanting to say something?
No, I was just looking closer.
Okay, all right. So they did a lot of agriculture with Monroe. So there are different points in there that we used as clues on that plate that had to do with agriculture. So his was, I love his plate. It's so beautiful in person. It's just really nice. So he has gold on the rim of his plates too. I mean, really, it's beautiful. It's just a beautiful plate. Okay, so I already told you, and there's the close-up. I don't know if you can see that any better, but they in real life they insist that that was a Bigfoot on there.
I can see.
So I believe in Bigfoot. So, you know, for me, it's easy to go, oh yeah, there it is. And then everyone goes, you're nuts. When was the last time you were at the optometrist? So it's like, okay, maybe not, but okay. Huh? Oh, here, let me go back. Okay. See that black shadow above? It kind of starts below the wing, the right wing. And there, you know, it kind of hunches over that star field. And see, his arm is pointing this way.
Yeah. What else would it be?
I can't think of what else would be on that plate like that. So it's just so obvious. And when you do the research and you find out Bigfoot, oh, Bigfoot, yeah, okay. But then when, you know, I kind of scoffed at it until I had the plate in my hand and went, oh my God, there it is. So, and you're holding it this far from your face. So, yeah. So that's That's where it's at. All right, so let's move on to, okay, so this is Zachary Taylor and his wife, Margaret. They were the 12th president of the United States. He did not live long, and Millard Fillmore, his vice president, replaced him. So that's, now, I wish I had their plate, but it had to go back too, so sorry. In his plate, what was important is, let me go to a close-up of it. It has the Eye of Horus. There's an eye there. So people say the Eye of Horus, but what Morgan's clan figured out was that was the eye on Jupiter. So, and that's important because that's where the particle beam accelerator had to hit copper and iron satellite dishes to bounce off to hit the black hole to suck the that star into. So, anyway, that's why that was the last crucial piece to the whole figuring everything out. And they got it by accident. One of the little kids said, "What's that eye on there for?" "It looks like the eye of Jupiter." "Oh yeah, bing." So, okay, you may recognize these two. It's Rutherford B. Hayes, or Rudd. He went by Rudd Hayes, and his wife, Lucy. Who knows what Lucy's nickname was that all the White House people would call her? Do you know? Anyone? Lemonade Lucy. She forbid alcoholic beverages in the White House and would only serve lemonade. So they would call her Lemonade Lucy. So now I've never had one of Rudd's plates, but what I did have was a ornament. Now this ornament, let me see if I can, I don't know how to make it bigger. Oh yeah, here we go. I don't know if that made it bigger or not. I think I made a mess. There we go. All right, so if you notice on this ornament, the horses or the sleigh do not touch the ground at all. Okay, and you'll notice the star field. The White House is floating in the star field, right? Everybody see that? Okay, there's 3 people in that sleigh. Now, what this has to do with the ending of the story, okay? One of the lady in there is not, it winds up, it correlates with the very ending. I hate giving the ending away, I really do, but it does. The White House floating in the air winds up I hate giving the ending away, I really do. This, I'm going to skip it. So I want you to read it. It's the very ending, but knowing that they're not on the ground, what that could represent, the sleigh and the horses. Remember, there's horsepower. So the sleigh could be a ship. The 3 people in there are noted people, not from our group, from the, listen to me, our group, not from Morgan's group or Jim's group or any of them. It's someone totally different, but someone extremely important. The White House that's floating there, this person could be from the White House. Okay, that's all I'm saying. You have to read the book. So, all right. Next is John Quincy Adams and his wife, Louisa. He was the 6th president. I do not have his china either. That went back. I really wish I'd hung on to the Monroe one, but I didn't. This one, the only thing that on his china, there's Morgan taking a look at it, was the eagle and the iron again. So it was a repeat, just, you know, in a different location on the plate. So that's really the only thing from that plate. And we looked through a lot of plates, didn't we, Morgan?
We did. It was so much fun.
For me, because I didn't have to touch the plates. It was grand fun. It was so much fun watching him going, oh my God, don't drop it. So, and I think Stephanie got to witness some of that. We did a little thing with her for her podcast.
I was terrified you were going to drop something.
Yeah.
We did. Remember, we dropped the Rutherford B.
Yeah.
Hayes ornament. I thought my
wasn't
heart
going
was
to mention
gonna
that
fall
again.
to the floor.
Thanks,
I know.
thanks for
I'm
bringing
telling
that
on
back
myself.
up.
Yeah, no problem. I don't mind. So, Morgan is just so beloved by everyone in the galaxy. Well, not everyone, because people keep, and it's the
He's
same
trying to
people.
kill me, but other than that,
But it's the same people. It is the Palladians and the Tellites and the U.S. military.
it's just
Those
like
are the-
high school again. There's that one group that you just can't break into.
I can't believe you couldn't break into a group. Come on, listen. So, all right. So, this just tells, that your biggest struggle has always been with the blue, though, with the blue aliens. And, that's always been the biggest problem. Well, I guess the U.S. military trying to take you out all the time. That's a problem too.
Little problem.
Yes, but Morgan's had to move from the Cuyahoga Valley to, first they went to St. Pierre Island in Newfoundland, where the Nordics had a base, and they put him there for protection. And that's where he met the Olympians, or so-called Olympians. Then that became not safe for them, and he wound up going to where they hide all the scientists to keep them safe. And that is in an underground base in Patagonia. Now, I'm not saying that's true or not, but I'm just saying that's where he went. One of the things that Bev does is whenever there's a birth or somebody's passed on or anything like that, she sings the song "All Is Well with Your Soul." Who knows that song? You know that one. I've seen Mr. Tourette's saying yes. So, in honor of Bev, who loves that song, it's in every book. It is in literally every book, except for my kids' books. I brought the song to kind of wrap things up for us, and then we'll go look at the China. But I'm going to remind everyone again, please do not touch it at all, because when they get this back, I can tell you they will look for fingerprints. And I feel sorry for the first person that has a treasury agent show up at your house. So I'm just saying, please don't touch.
Please don't squeeze the Charmin.
Yes. So I'm going to play this song, and hey, Pat from Crooked River. Is he, Pat, are you listening? He turned us, he laughed. He said, figure it out yourself. I'm just going to film it myself. Someone's filming it for me now. So, and I'll send it to Pat to edit
Yes,
in
dear.
to this.
Yes, dear, I hear you.
Hey, Pat. Hey, Pat. I'm going to just go ahead and film the China and people looking at the China without touching. And I'll send you that to edit in if you want.
Okay.
Is that okay if we do it separate?
Yeah, we can do that separate. I can combine them.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Pat. And by the way, Pat Laura with Crooked River Media is zooming this and putting this together for us. So it will be on Crooked River's site by the end of the week.
Will probably likely be on there now because we're going live right to the sites.
Well, awesome.
We are going to Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Vaughn Live, and D Live, and it's all it's being recorded by everybody or to everybody.
There it
There it is. It's up. Well, thank you, Pat. Okay, so you'll add this on, and then I can, because I know Stephanie with Red Penguin would like to be able to have that to in an edited version to put up on her site.
If
Absolutely.
anybody wants a copy of this whole thing, I can probably do that too. Just send me an email and let me know you want it.
Thank you, Pat. Well, I appreciate everyone joining in for this. I know it's late for you in New York. Sorry. So, and Morgan, thank you for your ever comical, funny, and always wonderful self.
Thanks for inviting me. Say hello to all my Woodridge friends.
I think they're all listening and they're all waving. So, all right. So, well, thank you for joining us. And Pat, thank you for streaming this for us. And we'll talk soon.
Okay, have a good day.
Thanks. Oh, I bet you turned that on. And they're at the Billy Graham's place. We all know who that is, Bill Gaither. There's Gloria. Mark, can't remember Mark's name, last name.
Michael W. Smith.
Mm-hmm. George Helms. magnificent.
We hope you enjoyed this special presentation of the Crooked River Radio Network. See you again soon.